So, Anthony Joshua versus Robert Helenius. Now, we all know that on paper, this is not supposed to be a 50-50 fight. This is a last-minute replacement opponent who is supposed to be a tune-up for Deontay Wilder in December or January. Anthony Joshua is more accomplished than Helenius. He's several years younger. He's beat much better opposition, so on and so forth. So AJ really should not only be winning here, but winning in impressive fashion, or at least winning in comfortable fashion. Are there certain things that Robert Helenius has, attributes, etc., that could make things interesting here? Yes, he's got punching power. He definitely has enough pop in his right hand to hurt Anthony Joshua and to potentially knock him out. But does he have the delivery system, as Teddy Atlas likes to say? Does he have the skill to be able to get that right hand on? I have to imagine it will be difficult if Anthony Joshua's patient. Robert Helenius is a tall fighter who uses that height and reach against shorter opponents quite well. But when he's been up against people a similar height to himself, he tends to struggle. I mean, I remember when he got knocked out by Johan Duopa. Duopa was about 6'5", Helenius a couple inches taller at 6'7". I got a laugh actually at Eddie Hearn during this fight week because Helenius' height has been fluctuating by several inches every time Eddie Hearn mentions it. On one occasion he's 6'7", another occasion he's 6'9", then he's 6'8". I mean, his height's all over the place according to Eddie Hearn. But let's just say Robert Helenius is 6'7". He fought Johan Duopa many years ago, who was about 6'5", and yeah, he got knocked out. He had his success early in the fight, but ultimately Duopa got to him with his jab, broke him down, and stopped him. Same thing when Helenius fought Gerald Washington back in, I think, 2018, 2019. Two big, tall guys. Washington's about 6'6", so very similar height to Helenius. He was able to hit Helenius with a jab, and it was a tough fight for both men, but ultimately Gerald Washington came out on top and he knocked Robert Helenius out in that fight. So when Helenius has come up against other tall guys, he tends to struggle, and it's usually the jab that Helenius is going to have problems with because he's very upright. He really doesn't move his upper body at all, Robert Helenius. And so when you're looking at the keys to victory for Anthony Joshua, it's going to be the left jab. Helenius is slightly taller than him, according to the official Tailor the Tape, but AJ's got the longer reach, probably got the longer arms. So if he makes it a point to establish his jab, he should be able to get Robert Helenius under control quite easily. I mean, going back several years to when Dylan White fought Helenius. Obviously, White is a much shorter fighter than Helenius, but he was still able to control Helenius with his jab, despite being the shorter guy. If you go watch that fight, in the first 2 rounds, it's a jabbing contest. Both guys are just spamming the jab, and Dylan White's jab is dominant in that fight. So if Dylan White can control Helenius with his jab several years ago, I have to figure if Anthony Joshua commits to that, he can do it as well, get Helenius under control, then start breaking him down up close and at mid-range. You got to be careful because you do not want to walk onto a Robert Helenius right hand or a left hook. When he fought Derek Chisora back in the days, it was a left hook that he hurt Derek Chisora with early in the fight, if memory serves me correct. And that's when Derek Chisora was still teak tough. He's not quite as tough these days physically. You know, his punch resistance is not quite what it was, Derek Chisora. But back then, he was really tough in terms of punch resistance. And Helenius hurt him clearly in the first round with, I think it was a left hook. And he's hurt other people with left hooks as well over the years, Robert Helenius. So he's got power in both hands, but it's primarily the right hand. So yeah, I think AJ needs to get him under control with the jab. If he can do that, it should be relatively plain sailing as long as he's sensible. From Helenius' side, he needs to old man his way through the fight. He needs to frustrate Anthony Joshua. He certainly shouldn't be doing what he tried to do against Deontay Wilder, which is coming forward and making a fight of it. He needs to move away. He needs to make himself as elusive as he can, make himself awkward, and concentrate on not getting hit first. Once he's not getting hit, maybe he can then walk Anthony Joshua onto something. Because realistically, he's not as fast as AJ of hand or foot. He isn't as good a combination puncher. Again, he's older. And people talk about AJ's vulnerabilities. Helenius is probably more vulnerable than AJ is. Guy's been knocked out a bunch of times. So yeah, he needs to think about just keeping his chin out of the way for as long as he can, hoping he can frustrate Anthony Joshua and then walk him onto something. If I had to put a percentage on it, in terms of how likely a Robert Helenius victory would be, I would say maybe 30% because he's got power, because AJ doesn't have an iron jaw. So yeah, I would say a 30% chance for Robert Helenius. It's a small chance, but it's still a chance. So that's my take on it. Give me your take in the comment section below. Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.